Alright then, so now we've got the Gemini CLI set up and running inside of a project, and now we can start to ask it about the project and to make changes, add new features, look for bugs and all that jazz. However, one thing I'd like to do before any of that is make a Gemini Markdown file, which includes instructions to Gemini about any project conventions or packages or libraries we use, the project architecture, plus any additional coding preferences we might have. For example, I don't like to bloat the template files with Tailwind classes, and I don't always like to use semicolons for JavaScript or TypeScript code. I prefer to keep my components small and modular. So all of those preferences can be added to the Gemini file so that the AI model has those instructions when deciding how to generate code and files, because the contents of all of that file gets added to the CLI session automatically as additional context for the model. Now, when you have an existing project where you've already added some files and code, we can actually ask the Gemini CLI to generate the Gemini file for us. And when we do that, Gemini is going to search through the existing code base and look for any patterns and information it can pick up, like what framework we use, what CSS libraries we might use, how we structure the application, the general premise of the app, how data is used within it, etc. And then it's going to summarize all of that and write it to the Gemini file. Then, if we wanted to, we can go in and edit the file to correct anything or add more to it. So then let's do this by coming to the chat over here and typing /init. Now this is a special command in the Gemini CLI which tells Gemini to scan the codebase and make the Gemini Markdown file. There's a similar command in Claude Code which does almost the same thing. So we'll talk more about commands, or /commands as they're also known, later in the series. For now, we can just hit enter and let Gemini do its thing. And when we do that, you can see that right away, before it even looks at the project, it's created an empty Gemini.md file in the root of the project. And now it's going to analyze the code base before it writes to that new file. Alright, so it's finished now. It's read a bunch of files and examined the application, and it's come up with some content to write to the new Gemini file. However, it's not written it yet. It's just showing us a diff of what content it wants to write in the file. And in that chat window, it's asking us for permission to write this content to the file. So by default, whenever the Gemini CLI wants to make file changes or run commands, it's always going to ask us for permission before it does so. And when it does that, we generally get three options to respond with. We can say yes, allow once, which means this single write action is allowed, but then it's going to ask you for permission again next time it writes. We can say yes, always allow, and that's going to mean for this session, it won't ask for write permission again, or we can refuse and suggest changes to the content it's trying to write, or even just scrap the whole thing. So I'm going to select the second option, which is to auto accept any future edits in this session. And when I do that, it fully writes this content to the file. And you can also see this little message above the chat input now, which says accepting edits. So that means during this session, Gemini will automatically make code changes without asking for permission. Now, if you want to toggle that back off again, you can press Shift plus Tab to do so, and that message is going to go away. Shift plus Tab again, and it comes back. So that's a little shortcut for enabling auto accept on file edits. Anyway, now let's have a quick look at this new Gemini.md file. So let's open this file up, close this off to give us some more room, and in fact, I'll close this as well to give us a bit more room. And we can see up here we've got a project overview first of all. It's identified it's a Nux 3 web application. The title of it, it's a platform for users to share and discover interesting and unusual food combinations, blah, 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 blah. So we've got the project summary, some prerequisites, an installation guide, which is just npm install, how to run the development server, how to test the application, building, blah, 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 what framework we're using. So these are all development conventions. So the framework itself, Nux 3, and then it's identified we're using VTest for testing. For styling, we've got a single CSS file at the moment, and the location of that is here. Components, view components are located in app/components, and the pages are located right here. So it's a pretty slim kind of summary of the application so far. And there's not an awful lot because the application itself is very slim. We've only got 2 pages. We don't have any additional components not many assets, etc. So there's not much more to put in this file. However, what I am going to do is paste in just a few more instructions at the bottom down here. So I've put additional coding preferences, and the first one is to not use semicolons for JavaScript and TypeScript. That's just my personal preference. You can use them if you want, obviously. Do not use Tailwind classes in component templates, and that's even if we're using Tailwind CSS, because I generally don't like to pollute the project, or the template files rather, with loads and loads of different Tailwind classes. Instead, what I like to do is just sprinkle a few here and there and then make custom classes in the main.css file where we can apply those Tailwind ones if we want to. I've said keep project dependencies minimal and then use relative imports and not a path alias. So I'm just going to save this file now. Alright, so now we have this Gemini file, which, like I said before, automatically gets added to the sessions we have with the Gemini CLI. And therefore, the model can use the contents of this file and the instructions inside it to make decisions about how to make code changes or generate new code when we ask it to. Now, there is one more step we need to take for that to work, and that is to use another command, which is /memory. And then using a subcommand on that called refresh. And what this does is tell Gemini CLI to rescan for any Gemini files since it last scanned for them. So when we run that, after a moment, we should see a message that says the memory was refreshed. And if we take a look down here now, it says it's using one Gemini.md file. So at a glance now, we can see that it's using this file as context in this session, and the model will be able to follow the instructions in this file when it's making decisions about the project. So then, this Gemini file that we just created is one specific to this project because it lives in the root directory of this project. But you can also make additional Gemini files in subdirectories to provide instructions just about the files in that section of the application. For example, if I had instructions I wanted Gemini to follow only when it comes to making new page components or editing page components, I could make a new Gemini file in the Pages folder. And then when working on files in that folder, the model would follow those instructions. Or I could make a Gemini file in the test folder to provide specific instructions about writing tests for the application. So we can make a project-wide Gemini file in the root directory, and we can make additional Gemini files in subdirectories. But there's also a third option. We can make a global Gemini file to provide instructions to Gemini that span across all projects we make. To do that, you'll need to find the hidden.gemini folder in your home directory on a Mac or in your user profile directory on Windows, and you will need to enable hidden files and folders to be shown in order to see it. So this folder is one that the Gemini CLI creates when you install it, and it uses this folder to manage global settings, global MCP servers, extensions, chat sessions, and a few other things as well. And inside this folder, we can make a global Gemini.md file to provide instructions to the model, which will then be used for every project that we make and use Gemini inside of. So those instructions should be things that apply to every application you develop. They might include very specific coding styles or preferences, or details about how you want Gemini to interact with you, etc. Now, I'm not going to make a global Gemini file right now because we'll only be working on a single project and all of our instructions can go in that project level one. But I did just want to show you where to make this global one if you wanted to do it. And again, if you do add a global Gemini file or even another Gemini file inside a subdirectory, it's always a good idea to run that /memory command with the refresh argument after it, or the refresh subcommand, to make sure it rescans and finds them. Also, these files aren't something that you should just create and then forget about. As your application grows, changes, and incorporates different services, preferences, or styles, then you should continually update your Gemini file to reflect that. Otherwise, the AI model will be using the old one and stale information about your project. So then, this is something I always do first when I'm working on an existing project. If it's a brand new project, I would still create the file, but obviously there would be nothing for Gemini to go off to generate the content for us. So I'd probably put some basic preferences down myself to begin with, then start making the application and just update the file as I go. Anyway, with this in place, next up, we're going to start making some code changes.